guys, Holding Eyes with you here, bringing you the Promised Neverland anime review. This was episode 10, titled 130146. This episode was very sad, very emotional. Norman, as we know from last episode, he came back and he told his people, Ray and Elma, that about the wall and the situation and how everything is set up and what side of the wall they're on and what side they could possibly cross in the future if they try to escape that route. And he also gave back the machine to blow up the ear tracker. He said he didn't get to use it and he gave it back to Ray. And he's like, y'all use it for your escape. And he told him, I'm going to deal with my punishment and there's nothing that y'all can do to convince me. And then he ended up hugging both of them. He admits his feelings towards them. And he was like, I'm happy with this short life that I spent with y'all. Thanks to y'all, it was a good life. I'm happy I met y'all. Y'all was the best of friends and y'all made everything, great for me. And surprisingly, we actually had my favorite character, Ray, actually break down and cry. Him hearing this, and Elma too. But there was more focus on Ray than Elma, because we knew Elma was going to cry and be sad. But Ray, we didn't know he was going to actually flip the handle and cry. We did not expect that, a lot of us. That was almost out of his character, so to see that it's some development, He's finally showing his feelings to his friends and stuff. But after that, he goes to leave and he prepares his briefcase and he has 2 cups tied over a string to connect them. And he was thinking of a flashback of when Elma and him were kids and he got sick because he was playing too much outside in the snowball fights. So he got sick. And Elma, nobody was supposed to come in the room except Mama, his nurse, but Elma kept on sneaking in. And Mama asked Elma why. She was like, because Ray said I can't get sick. I'm immune to sickness. And then when we saw Ray as a kid, he was like, oh yeah, this book says idiots can't get sick. And I'm like, wow. Seeing the cute little chibi stuff as kids arguing again, it was hilarious and funny. It kind of break the ice from all the sadness, just thinking about that. But that happens. And then, he's packing up to leave and he goes to leave. I believe we switch over to the next day or next night. No, wait, my fault. It's still the same day, but leave it at night. It's later on that night. And he goes to leave and he's saying bye to all the kids. And we have another moment there with Phil. Now, Phil got him the first time in the room telling him that Mama wants you, so you can prepare to leave. Now, this is the second time we get Phil in this episode. And he's the first one to notice, hey, everybody's sad. I mean, it makes sense, but is this really goodbye? And it was I feel like they using Phil to as a plot for the show, but in a good way, to make us realize that Phil actually knows what's going on, but I believe he's actually keeping this to himself. A lot of people are actually speculating, like I said in my last 2 videos, that Phil is actually the smartest kid and out of all these kids, and he's actually keeping this a secret, and that he knows as well as Ray. There's a debate on who's smarter, Ray or him or Norman. I'm gonna go between Ray and Phil, but as that's another video and another discussion for another time. When he's about to leave, he tells everybody something, and he tells Elma, watch everybody, and then he tells Don and Gayla to watch Elma, and he tells Phil to also watch over Elma, which is weird because he's telling Phil to do it. I understand Don and Gayla, but why Phil? Gotta watch out for Phil. Something about that character there's a lot of speculation going around about Phil. Again, but when he goes turn around to leave, Norman, Elma runs up to him and she hugs him, and she takes the machine to pop the micro in his ear, the tracker, and she goes around him to pop it, and he realizes this and he ends up falling to the side and he pushes Elma from him. So Elma doesn't get the chance to do it. And he hurries up and picks it up before anybody sees it, especially Mama. And he gets mad at Elma. He's like, what are you doing? You're so unrash and everything. And she's like, but I want you to live. I can hurry up and pop your ear thing and you can just run away. But of course, if Norman does do that, the chance of him escaping is only 50-50. And no matter what happens, everyone else will never get a chance to escape because they most likely would get killed. Especially the older ones. which is Dawn, Gayla, Ray, and Emma, the ones who knows about this the most. That Mama knows of, anyway, and that we know of so far. We don't know anybody else who possibly know. Again, a lot of people are speculating Phil, but that's another discussion for another time. But he taps her in the face, and he said it sounded like he was going to say, this is what I like about you, when he was mentioning all her flaws about her being naive, unrational, always angry, and always on her emotions. It sounded like the way he was saying it, like he was going to say, I love these things about you. But then Mama, of course, interrupts him and says, we have to go. So they leave. And we get this interesting scene where Norman asks Mama when she's taking him to the gate, Mama, are you happy? And she kind of freaks out for a second. But she recovers and she catches herself. And she just looks at him and she smiles and she's like, yes, I'm happy. And he didn't say nothing, but he gave her this look like, yeah, sure you are. And when they finally get to the gate, it gets weirder because this is when the episode takes a weird turn, because usually anyone who gets took into the gate, there's always a demon or two there waiting to capture them. But when they get there, there was nobody. And the truck was there, and when Norman was about to go to that truck where he knows that's usually where they pick the kids in, and they pick them up, Mama was like, no, you have to wait in this side of the room. And he was like, oh, okay. You know, he didn't take it as a big deal. But when Mama opened the door, Norman get to see something that's on that other side that we didn't get to see. And he didn't look scared. He looked shocked. Like, he was like, what? And then, you know, we switched back to the house. And, again, that was very intriguing. But after we go back to the house, we have a scene with Mama telling Emma, I can make you become a mama or a sister candidate if you want to, if you don't want to die. And you can still come back here and live with more kids. But then she was like, but you probably thinking, who would take that type of deal, right, Emma? And she's picking up her face, and she's like this at her, looking at her. And she's like, you're a failure. You're going to die here if you don't give up. Just give up and be peaceful with it, and this is the best way for you to go. And she was just saying a whole bunch of harsh things, just taking shots at Emma, and Emma was like, no. And she just stayed there crying. And then a couple of days pass, a couple of weeks actually, and it's actually the next month, the 15th. The night of the 14th, about to go to the 15th. And 15th is when Ray is supposed to be shipped off, which is also his birthday, sadly. And he's there singing a lullaby, and Emma asks him, what are you doing? And he was like, I just wanted to sing a song to this house, since this is my last day here. And then he shuts the book tightly, and he looks at Emma. He says, Emma, you really haven't given up, have you? And then, as you see in my thumbnail, we have like this evil smirk on Emma's face. Like she got something really dangerous planned going on. And that was the end of the episode. And I was like, yo, we are about to see a whole new side of Emma. Like, I think this is going to be her breaking point, where she goes like from good little girl to like a straight savage. But we're going to have to wait and see, because again, that was the end of the episode. And sadly, this is supposed to be only a 12 episodes season, I believe, with one OVA or something like that. So we only have basically 2 episodes left, sadly. And then this anime ends. So if y'all want to give me any recommendations for animes for Mondays and Thursdays, please put down below. But this was a great episode 10 of Promised Neverland. Really great stuff. Again, beware of Phil, very suspicious kid. But what I really want to talk about the most is, what did Norman see when he looked beyond that gate? That door that was in the gateway. What did he see that shook him? It wasn't like a shock, like scared or death shock. It was more like a surprise shock. So what did he see? The only thing I can think of, tell me your opinions down below, but what I could think of is only one thing, and that is, maybe he saw other humans, other adults across there waiting for him. Maybe it wasn't demons to escort him to his death. Because you gotta think about it. They take the smartest of the smartest girls, and they give them the options of either going to their death or becoming a mother. So you gotta look on the flip side of that coin. How about the smartest boys? What do they do to them? You know, they need these kids to become adults to eventually work on the farm and control the kids and produce more kids. Unless they are test tube babies, but we've seen that they have belly buttons and they get fevers and stuff, so I highly doubt that. I mean, this is supposed to be a high quality farm, and usually everything on a high quality farm is usually natural, so we can assume all these kids were natural birth. No test tube baby or implants. Which means we're going to have male and female adults around to produce these kids. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe there's a group of humans that are willing to allow him to live as long as he become a male producer. That's just my guess. I could be wrong. Who knows? But again, this was a great episode. Great stuff. I can't wait to see what Emma does. We know that her and Ray been depressed ever since like Norman left for these past 3 weeks. So, and if Emma's faking it, and I believe Ray is also faking it because he told Don and Gayla, I don't care, I'm going to give up and die here. But I have a feeling that he was also faking it, and he probably was just wanted to be alone to master strategize a plan. That's my belief, but we will have to wait until episode 11 and 12 to see what's going to go down. But again, great episode, great stuff. But like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Link will be down below. Tell me your comments and what you thought down below. What you thought of the episode. What you thought of Norman Saw. What you think that that Ray and Emma are thinking and their escape. What you think of Phil and stuff like that. But that's all I have for you guys. Peace out and have a good one.